Superman and Lois, Season 3, Episode 5, Head On. Both Clark and Sam are having a hard time giving Lois room to make her own decisions regarding her cancer and her cancer treatments. Lois has her second round of chemo, but this is the first treatment in Metropolis at Hobbs Bay Medical Center, which is the hospital that is run by Bruno Mannheim. Clark finds out how brutal cancer and chemo treatments are when he talks to two women who are taking cancer treatments at the same hospital that Lois is getting her treatments at. Jordan is back at home and is having issues with Candace staying with them. Lana and Sarah are both back on good terms and are sharing a meal together at the Smallville diner. During their meal, they run into George Dean's son, Junior Dean, who takes his anger and frustration out on both Lana and Sarah regarding his dad's mayoral loss to Lana, as well as his dad's death. During her treatments, Lois goes snooping around the hospital, even while hooked up to the chemo drip, to find any clues as to what Bruno Mannheim is up to and what he could be using Superman's blood for, and to find out more about Henry Miller. She gets caught by Bruno Mannheim himself, and he shows and explains to her what they are doing, but Lois still isn't buying any of it. Jonathan has to make a choice between being with Candace or taking an internship at the fire station in Smallville under Kyle Cushing. Sam Lane and Natalie spend some time together riding ATVs on the Kent farm. Mateo comes to Smallville from Metropolis to see Natalie and to take her to the dance. Sam gets very suspicious of Mateo and his intentions with Natalie. The boys, Sam Lane, Sarah Cushing, Lana Lang, Chrissy Beppo, Kyle Cushing, Natalie Irons, and Mateo all go to the Valentine's Day dance. Junior Dean comes to the dance but gets upset and goes outside, and Sarah goes out to talk to him and comforts him during his emotional state. Sarah and Junior decide to be friends again. Candace finds Jonathan and tells him she will be moving to Topeka, Kansas to live with her aunt. Kyle Cushing and Chrissy Beppo liven up the dance with their dancing. They both show their dancing chops and they both have some pretty good moves. They get the whole crowd dancing after they start. Their relationship gets more serious when they end up in bed together once again. Bruno Mannheim's doctor is now using Superman's blood on another subject, James DeStefano, also called Deadline. They inject him with Superman's blood and it gives him metahuman powers. With his powers, he's capable of passing through solid matter like a ghost and can likewise make any object he touches intangible. He can phase and walk through walls as well. Deadline breaks into the DoD and hacks into their computer mainframe to get access to classified information that Bruno Mannheim needs to continue what he is doing. Superman arrives to stop him but ends up having a hard time fighting Deadline because of how he is able to phase and become like a ghost, plus he uses a kryptonite knife on Superman and slices and stabs him multiple times with it. For most of the fight, Deadline is winning until Superman is able to get the upper hand at one point and uses the force of his hands clapping together, which throws Deadline into the wall where he gets stuck. Superman turns around to realize that whatever he was getting has been downloaded and transferred somewhere else. Lois and Clark end up not going to the dance, and instead they dance together in their family room. Jonathan and Candace dance right next to them. Jordan asks his dad if he can cut in to dance with his mom, and Clark smiles and says absolutely. Jordan gets emotional as he dances with Lois. The next morning, Jonathan drives Candace to Topeka, Kansas to her aunt's place. After they leave, Sam tells Lois and Clark that after Superman fought Deadline, that the rest of the Intergang agents were raiding the locations from the classified information that was taken, and that several big top-secret assets were taken, and the biggest one is the body of the deceased Bizarro Superman. And that is how Superman and Lois Season 3, Episode 5, Head On, ends. This was a really good episode, but it was an episode that really hits home as far as the cancer storyline goes. The reason this episode hit me so hard is because of how many people have been affected by cancer on both sides of my family. My mom's dad, my grandfather, had colon cancer. My mom's mother, my grandmother, had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, both of whom died from the disease. My dad, who is still alive, had prostate cancer, but the doctors caught it in the very early stages, and he had to have surgery, and they removed it. He didn't have to have chemo or radiation, which was a blessing. My cousin on my mom's side had a brain tumor which was not malignant, and she had brain surgery and had it removed. She did not have to have any chemo or radiation treatments. She is better now and doing amazing. Also, my uncle, my dad's little brother, had prostate cancer, which, like my dad, was caught in the very early stages, and it was surgically removed. Also, like my dad, he did not have to have chemo or radiation treatments. I also have a really great friend who I used to work with in Lubbock, Texas, who is currently battling lymphoma, who I know will beat it. So, yeah, the reason this episode hit me so hard is because cancer has been a part of my family for a long time, and it has taken some people that I love and has affected some people that I love. So I think that's why this episode was just emotionally heavy and hit me the way it did. Seeing Lois do chemo was hard, and then seeing Clark talk to both those other women who were there receiving their chemo treatments and listening to them and what they were saying about the disease and what it does. You really see how hard it hits Clark, and that scene and sequence just hit me like a ton of bricks. Lois going off and doing her investigating while hooked up to her chemo treatment was very scary, because I was like, that is dangerous for her on so many levels, and I just knew she was going to get caught, and sure enough, she did. But I didn't think it was going to be by Bruno Mannheim himself. There are still a lot of questions than there are answers, like why is Bruno Mannheim using Superman's blood and making serums and injecting subjects with it, which gives them powers? Why is he testing it on people who are terminally ill? What is Bruno Mannheim's endgame here? I like how there are a lot of small town things going on, especially in this season, with Chrissy Beppo and Kyle Cushing sneaking around and having sex with each other, and with Lana not knowing, but Chrissy feels guilty because she interacts with Lana a lot on stories for the Smallville Gazette. I have a feeling that this is all going to come to a head soon, and not in a good way. This episode had some vibes from some past iterations of Superman, especially when Bruno Mannheim and his doctor get a hold of the body of the deceased Bizarro Superman. It reminded me of the movie Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, when Lex Luthor was granted access to the deceased body of General Zod and the crashed Kryptonian ship. I really like Mateo, who is the dude who likes Natalie Irons, but something inside of me is saying that he has ulterior motives and that he is in some way a part of Bruno Mannheim's plans. Maybe that is just me being the cautious person that I am. To be honest, I hope I'm wrong, because right now I really like him and I like Nat and him together. But I've watched enough shows and movies to know that some people who get close to you are doing that just to hurt you. They play like they are your friend or someone you can trust, only to later turn around and hurt you either physically, spiritually, or emotionally. I've had that happen to me more than once in my life, and it sucks when people who you think are there for you turn right around and stab you in the back. But I hope I am wrong about Mateo. Several things I was really questioning in this episode. First thing is, why didn't we get to see Jordan in his new uniform? I was disappointed we didn't get to see him help Superman with a save or something, with him all decked out and a clear shot of him from head to toe in his new outfit. That was just disappointing to me. The second thing is, this is the 5th episode of this season, and we haven't seen hide nor hair of Sophie, Sarah's little sister, in this season at all. Where is she? Even when she is not around, they act like she doesn't even exist. I mean, what the hell? Are the writers of this show just writing her off without any kind of an explanation? Where is Sophie? She should be a bigger part of the show. That is pretty much all I have to say about this episode, so now it's grading time. I'm going to give Superman and Lois Season 3, Episode 5, Head On, an A-. Here are my final thoughts. I thought this was a very good episode. It was a very powerful episode, and that it hit on some emotional beats that made me think about how awful cancer is and how cancer has taken the lives of people I love and has affected people close to me who are still alive and beat the disease as well. So yes, it is an emotionally heavy episode. This one didn't have a whole lot of Superman action in it, except when he was fighting Deadline, though there was one really cool shot of Superman using his laser heat vision that I thought was really badass. Then, like I stated above, we still have a lot of questions and no answers yet. And also, like what I said above, where's Sophie Cushing? But overall, the biggest question is, what are they doing with the deceased body of the Bizarro Superman? Are they going to reanimate him and bring him back to life, or are they just after his blood? I guess we will just have to wait and see. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to say good night. God bless. I love all of you, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.